There we go. It's good. No, I'll give him 1 second. I let people finish their small talk. All right. Okay. All right, I'd like to have a call to order. This is the Dania Beach City Commission regular meeting, Tuesday, June 13th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Before we begin, I would like to recognize a few dignitaries in the room. We have Frank Ortis, Mayor of Pembroke Pines. Thank you for coming. Next in, we have our Commissioner, Beam Fur. All right, County Commissioner Beam Fur. We have Marty Kerr, property appraiser. We have most of the BSO department. We have colonels, lieutenant colonels, captains, lieutenants, chiefs, and it's great to see you guys all here. This is a very momentous day for us, for our outgoing chief and our incoming chief. And last but not least, it is Commissioner James's birthday. All right.
Happy birthday to you.
Okay, clerk, can we please have a roll call?
Yes. Mayor Ryan,
Here?
Vice Mayor Llewellyn,
Here.
Commissioner Davis,
Here.
Commissioner James,
Here.
Commissioner Salvino,
Here.
City Attorney Bootsas, here. City Manager Garcia,
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Could we all please take a moment and bow our heads for a moment of silence? Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, for our first presentation, we have our city manager presenting Captain Danny Marks with Years of Service Award. And Madam Manager Garcia is going to say a few words.
Got it worked out this morning? Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, city team, special guests that are here with us today, and our residents that are watching at home. For the past 4.5 years, we have been extremely blessed to be able to work with an extraordinary leader, an individual, Captain Danny Marks, who has been our district chief. There have been a lot of challenges that we have been able to overcome and a lot of new initiatives that we've been able to start. particularly in community policing, working with the youth, and taking a lot of leadership approaches to mitigating crime and really being proactive. One of the great things that Captain Mark has done is succession planning and really building a great team, which has been a priority of this administration. Our legacy is really not what we have done for ourselves, but what we have done for others, because that's how we live on beyond the time that we are no longer present in the cities or the organizations where we are at one moment, and then we move on. And I have two words to describe Captain Marks, which are really aligned with what RISE is. And these are things that you don't see in a resume, and a lot of it comes from how you were raised and how you were brought up. But when I speak of you, Captain Marks, I cannot speak about you or even mention your name without using the words respect and integrity. You really, really represent that. And today is bittersweet. We will miss you, and I know that you will continue to be part of our team as a district mentor and leader and trainer. But we're also very excited because you have instilled respect, integrity, and then some in our future chief as well. So we didn't want to give you a plaque because that requires a wall or an office. We wanted to give you something that represents the colors that you wear and how much you love the sea, because I know you always love boating and being out in the ocean fishing. And if you ever don't go to the gym and you don't have dumbbells around, it's a great opportunity to do some curls with this. But this is what you mean to us, and you will always have a place in our hearts, and your legacy will live in our future chief and all the rest of the men and women that you have trained and developed and loved. So this is on behalf of our team and our mayor and city commission. Daniel Marks, District Chief, BSO, Dania Beach, in appreciation for your commitment and dedication to City of Dania Beach from 2015 to 2023. It's been a true honor and a joy to work with you. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. As the manager said, this is bittersweet. It's been an honor and a privilege to not only work with this commission, past commissions, past managers, current manager. It's been the best assignment of my career. Long time, but worth every second of it. I want to thank the commissions that I've worked with, the managers I've worked with. I want to thank the sheriff's staff, colonels, majors, for all their support, your support, and most of all, the women and men that wear this uniform in the Dania Beach District, because that's why we are so successful. And Dania will always be my home, and everybody still has my number, and I'll be around. But thank you very much. This is beautiful. Thank you for everything.
We're gonna get a picture with you.
I'd also like to thank all the clubs, organizations, our COP program, everybody that's just contributed, the city staff. It's just been amazing, an amazing ride. This has got some weight.
Can I close this?
Katya first.
Okay.
Do you mind? Yes.
All right.
Yes, my hair is straight. Everybody, please acknowledge. Thank you.
One for the history books.
Let me get the sign in the back. Perfect, and congratulations.
Okay, now for item 3.2, we have the swearing in of our new Dania Beach District Chief, Jason Terralla. Yes.
So I know that the BSO team will have a formal changing of the guard of sorts. And maybe I should turn that over to you guys so you do it first, and then we'll do our official swearing in. So whoever's going to be doing the changing of the guards. So it's not like in London? Oh, okay.
Good afternoon. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, city staff, everyone in attendance. My name is Colonel Nicole Anderson. I serve as your undersheriff here at the Broward Sheriff's Office. It is my pleasure to be here tonight. Our formal process is in the way of issuing personnel orders, and at a later date when we recognize the various promotions throughout the agency, that's when that official incident take place. So tonight we're just here in support of Captain Terralla to basically show support and to actually give Captain Marks his flowers while he's still here to get him. He's done an amazing job, and we're very proud of what he's accomplished here in Dania Beach. We're looking for new things out of Captain Terralla, and I'm sure he'll produce. It's just in our nature, and it's not bragging when you are the best, and your Broward Sheriff's Office is the best there is. With that being stated, I would like to commend the men and women who serve in Dania Beach. It goes without saying, these individuals are proud to be here. They work hard on a daily, and it's not easy being in law enforcement right now, but we're dedicated to it, and we'll always, always provide top-notch service. It's what we do. So if you want to bring up Captain Terralla.
So what we're going to do is we're going to bring our city clerk, who's our notary, and bring the rest of the commission up and to do an official swearing in. And before we do that, I just want to say a couple of things, and then I'll turn it over to the chief. The chief is a product of what our former chief has done in regards to recruiting and training and developing team. I do believe that we have the best BSO team in all of Broward County. So these decisions that have been made by the team, decisions that have been made by me, I couldn't have done that without your ongoing support. And there's a lot of projects and programs that are moving forward, working with you all, including a very, very exciting recruitment program that I've been working with one of your sergeants, Sergeant Wallen, that has been amazing. Every time I pick up the phone to call one of you, it's what can we do? And if I leave a message, it gets returned immediately. So I just want to say here in a room full of individuals, how honored I am and how honored we all are to work with you, because when we work with BSO, we don't just get the men and women from BSO, but we get a reservoir of talent and years of experience and so much. And one of the reasons that you're being promoted is we're moving forward, and with everything that we can do to be proactive when it comes to crime. The top priority for this mayor, this vice mayor, and this city commission is the safety of the residents and all our constituents. So we will not leave any stone unturned in regards to doing everything that we can do. And when we say that we're going to do everything that we can do, we're the type of team here that we align our words with actions. I don't know of too many cities that in one fiscal year brings in 8 brand-new law enforcement officers. And that's what we're doing here, because we're aligning our words with action. The future is bright here. We're extremely excited to have you here, and we want to wave that flag of being not just Broward's #1 city in property values, because that's what Marty's going to talk about, right? But we want to wave the flag. The proudest flag that we can wave here is that we are the safest city to live, to visit, and work, not just in Broward, in all of the state of Florida. And I know we can't do that without your leadership. So at this time, I thank you, and then we're going to have your swearing in, and then you can speak.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's the game plan.
Thank you.
Okay.
Want me to come down?
Maybe you can hold, I'll hold it. Okay, here we go.
Are you tall? I'll hold it. No. I can hold it. Okay. Raise your right hand. Okay. And just repeat after me. Set this down. Okay. I state your name.
I, Jason Torella,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
protect, and defend
protect, and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and government of the United States,
and government of the United States,
the state of Florida,
the state of Florida,
and laws of Broward County,
and laws of Broward County,
the Charter,
the Charter,
and laws of the city of Dana Beach,
and laws in the city of Dana Beach,
that I am duly qualified
that I am duly qualified
to hold office
to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will,
well and faithfully,
perform the duties
perform the duties
of Chief of Police,
of which I am now about to enter. So help me God.
All right, all ready?
Genuine smiles.
All right, I have everyone.
I'll just steal Katya's anyway.
Commissioner, Vice Mayor, Mayor, City Manager. I want to thank everyone for coming today and supporting me on this very proud day for myself and my family. I want to thank the City Commission for their support and their trust. I want to especially thank City Manager Garcia for her confidence and support in choosing me as the next chief of the City of Dania Beach. I look forward to working with everyone to build a safer and better Dania Beach for our residents and our visitors. I want to thank the BSO command staff, Under Sheriff, Colonels, Major, all our dignitaries who came today, my friends, my personal friends who came, and obviously my BSO friends and family who are here to support me. Thank you. I'm so happy that my family's here to share this with me today. My mom, my sister, my brother-in-law, my niece, my nephew, my best friend Eric, you're all here to support me with love. My mom is a very proud mother today.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
And I know we all wish my father could be here. Unfortunately, he can't, but I know he's watching from up above.
Yes, he is.
I want to thank the men and women that you see behind me in green. These are your Dania Beach deputies. They are hands down the best BSO deputies in this agency. I see it in their work daily, how they handle themselves in some of the most dangerous, intense situations imaginable. Their professionalism and what they show to this community is second to none. These men and women are the bravest and the best deputies within the Sheriff's Office. The residents of Dania Beach are fortunate to have these deputies protecting them, as I am now fortunate to be their leader and to have them following me. I started BSO 20 years ago at the age of 18 going through the process. I graduated the police academy at the age of 19 years old. I still remember my first day on patrol, a 19-year-old kid, a rookie assigned to Oakland Park. Not a clue, not knowing what to do, not what to expect, a 19-year-old kid. Time goes by fast. You learn very fast in this job and you get experience quickly. I never thought about moving through the ranks, but I had great mentors and great leaders who motivated me and guided me to promote. One of them is standing here, and Colonel Holmes, who I've known throughout my career, who's been a very good mentor to me. Thank you. In 2012, I was promoted to sergeant, and I was assigned to Dania Beach as a sergeant. I immediately fell in love with the city, with its rich history and the culture. 2013, I was moved out of Dania Beach and moved to other positions throughout the agency where I gained a vast knowledge of experience. I was promoted to lieutenant in 2017, where I was honored to be brought back as the Dania Beach Patrol Lieutenant. This is my second home. This city has been remarkable. The growth and the positive change that I've seen in the city since 2017 is unbelievable. The city now is a city that I don't recognize when I was a sergeant in 2012. I'm so honored that you have all chosen me and entrusted me to lead this district into the future. There are so many great things planned for this city, and I can guarantee you that the Sheriff's Office will be right there standing side by side with this city, keeping everyone safe. Again, I want to thank you for this amazing opportunity, this honor that you have bestowed me as I serve as your Dania Beach District Chief. Thank you.
Chief, if we can get a photo of you and all the men and women in green that are here, it'd be great to take this photo so they could see. You guys, we'll stand in the back. Yeah. Everybody that's representing BSO, please come down. Yeah, that's a great picture. This is everybody from BSO. Please come down. This is a great shot. Yeah, I know. It's a very, very safe place to be. Right?
No, this is awesome.
Come on, keep coming down. Keep coming down. The wedding party. Come on down, please. This is awesome. It is awesome. No, great job. I hope you guys have a wide angle to capture this. You guys get a little closer. All right.
Tall people in the back. Oh, we have 3 residents left. Wait, we're missing one.
Wait, who's missing?
Thank you, thank you. If you say it when it's real quiet, you can't say
There you go, there you go.
Can I please have all eyes on me? Beautiful. Wonderful picture, thank you. Hold it.
Hold it, hold it, hold it. It's paparazzi.
People in the audience, please put your phone down. Thank you.
All right, all right.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
I like how you guys come out for one another.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
That was awesome. Yeah, we don't do changing of the guards often. Mhm. Commissioner James?
I don't know if Captain Marks left. Where? Right there. Captain Marks, I just wanted to thank you for your years of service and your commitment to the city of Dania Beach. It's not an easy task running towards danger while we rest peacefully and send you messages about all the things that are going on. And so just wanted to say thank you for answering the call to public service. And then Captain Tarala, in the same breath, yeah, Captain Tarala, in the same breath, wanted to welcome you again. And although you've transitioned into this leadership role, we've been calling and I've been calling and texting you, and anyone whose number I have that's in green, you'll get, you might get a text message or a phone call from us. Our number one priority in this city is safety, and so quality of life, and when our residents don't feel at ease, I don't think any of us sleep well at night, knowing that the things that are going on. And so anyone who serves in this capacity, which could be a deadly or a life-threatening capacity, thank you, thank you, thank you, and look forward to continuing to evolve the city of Dania Beach. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner James. Commissioner Salvino?
Danny, I'm sure everybody's going to say something. Danny, of course, thank you for everything you've done for us. And we will be in touch, and we'll always stay in touch. Like you said, Dania is part of your home as well. So always stop in and say hi, and I appreciate everything you've done over the years for me. Appreciate it. Okay. And Jason, you learned from a good guy over there, so thank you. Welcome.
Vice Mayor?
Okay, my turn. Danny, Captain Marks. Thank you for everything. You've always answered my calls, always answered my texts, and I know I'm glad you've been here to implement the fishing experience for the kids and all of that, and you've done so many wonderful things, and we really do appreciate everything you've done, and I know we'll still see you around, but we'll miss you anyway. But thank you. And Chief, our new chief, get that phone ready. So you know we're going to be calling you. Thanks.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Davis?
I'm just going to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Danny Marks, you have been just an incredible leader throughout the years that I've known you in the city of Dania Beach. Whenever I've called, you've picked up, you've given me the information that I've needed and shown great leadership and been a great example for the city of Dania Beach. So thank you for all you have done, and I wish you all the best because I know you're going to be successful in your next endeavors. And to our now, I call him chief, district chief, captain, whatever it is. We are so super excited to have you on board with us at the City of Dania Beach. Even when you were a lieutenant, you always had this wonderful, gregarious personality, but at the same time, we knew not to play. And I think that, you know, we want to make sure that our residents know that you're approachable, but at the end of the day, if you do anything with our residents, that they are going to have to answer to it. So we thank you so much for who you are, and we wish you all the best, and we're here to support you 100%. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Well, Captain Marks, it was a real pleasure to get to know you over this short time, and you know, just seeing how you lead by example and leadership in your department, it was a real pleasure, you know, to get more involved with our police department. And Captain Terrell, it's been a pleasure to get to know you as well. And I just want to note that, you know, this display of support that BSO shows for each other, from coming all around the county to support you and Captain Marks, it's impactful to see, you know, and I hope the community sees this. I hope the county sees this, that BSO stands together and they back one another, and makes me feel very comfortable with our relationship that we have BSO. Dania Beach has had a long-standing relationship with BSO, and I look to continue that healthy relationship with BSO through the leadership of our new Captain Terrell. Thank you. All right, we got a superstar coming up now. We have our Broward County property appraiser, Marty Kerr, giving us some good news.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you all so much for giving me the opportunity to come today. And before I speak, I want to congratulate Chief Terralla as well. And I have to tell you, not only I think will he do a great job, but I think he can probably out-bench press every other police chief in Broward County as well. You know? And also, happy birthday, Commissioner. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And happy birthday, Commissioner James. You know, my birthday is actually on June 19th, and I do two things. I go to McDonald's, which is my favorite thing ever. I go once a year. It's awesome. 2 years ago, they actually retweeted my tweet. It was like my life. I was like the greatest thing ever. And then at nighttime, I go to Jackson's Ice Cream, which is the greatest restaurant in Broward County by far as well. And so, absolutely, without a doubt, Geminis are awesome people, and Hurricane fans as well. You know. But, well, thank you all so much for having me today. And also, Mr. Mayor, I just want to thank you and this commission for the great work that you all do for the residents of Dania Beach. You know, Dania Beach, as you know, is our oldest city, but it is a city on the rise. I mean, there is so much going on here. It's an incredible place to live. I've actually never met somebody that lives in Dania Beach that dislikes living in Dania Beach. And I think so much of that is the great work that you all do for the people of this community. And I also want to thank your staff. And I wanted to also thank you, City Manager Garcia. You know, every single week, the City of Dania Beach provides us permits, so we can make sure we get every single piece of value on the tax roll that needs to be on the tax roll. And Dania Beach is so easy to work with. And I want to thank you as well, because, you know, when we had our floods recently, our training room at our office was flooded and can't be used. And your city manager was so gracious enough to allow our staff to be able to train here. And so we actually use it all the time, and it's been very, very helpful, so we can make sure that our appraisers are trained in the way they're supposed to. And the other person I just want to mention is one of my best friends, and I think the best finance director, without a doubt, in Broward County. That is Frank DiPaolo. He is the best. He's awesome. He definitely deserves a raise, but that's okay, you know. But no, he's fantastic and awesome to work with. And with that said, I was hoping, Mr. Mayor, to speak about a few things. First, I was hoping to talk about how our office can help the residents of Dania Beach. I then wanted to talk about property values, and Dania Beach is doing incredible. It actually did better than every other city in Broward County and the county as a whole this year. And then I wanted to talk just quickly about something that's near and dear to my heart, and that's cracking down on title fraud. And actually, I saw, oh, she's gone. Lieutenant Cooper was here just before for this, and she actually oversees our fraud division as well at our office, and she's fantastic. But for the residents, there are a few main functions to our office. The first function is we determine the value of every piece of property in Broward County for tax purposes, whether it's residential, commercial, tangible personal property, or centrally assessed property, which are railroads. And the reason that's important is because when a resident of Dania Beach pays their property taxes, the amount of taxes they pay is a relationship between the value of the property that we set and the tax rate set by Dania Beach, the county commission, the school board, and all other taxing authorities. So the most important thing we want to do is make sure we get it right. And as you know, Broward County is a big place. More people live here than 13 states, the District of Columbia, and all U.S. territories except Puerto Rico. It is big. And there are more parcels that we appraise than many states. But I only want people to pay taxes on their fair share of value. So I always tell everybody, please go on our website at bcpa.net, type in your name, type in your address, take a look at the market value and the assessed value, and if you have any concerns, give me a call. Let's go through it together. We can work on your property by September 18th to make sure that you're only paying taxes on your fair share of value and you're only paying the amount of property taxes you're supposed to pay, not too much. And let me just give the residents an example. The way we determine the value of property is we look at January 1st of the tax year. So when your November tax bill comes out is what was the property on January 1st. And the way we determine that value is we look at all the sales from the year before. And so if somebody in Dania Beach may go on our website right now, and they may look at their property, and they'll call me, and they'll say, Marty, I understand why you valued my property this way, because all these other properties sold for a similar amount. However, those properties are actually different than mine. Mine's dilapidated. It has water damage. There's something that makes it less valuable, and I always tell them, well, call me by September 18th. Let's go through this together, and if we can utilize data to bring down your value that you pay taxes on, we always will. The second thing that we do, and this is what I love most about my job, is we give tax saving exemptions to people that qualify. And there are a lot of exemptions under Florida law that people qualify for. The most important one by far is the homestead exemption. If somebody lives here in Dania Beach and it's their primary residence, where they're registered to vote, where their card's registered to, if they don't vote, where their declaration of domiciled, if this is where they live and they raise their family, they get that very important exemption, which does two things. The first thing it does, it takes $50,000 of value off the tax roll. They no longer pay taxes on. Can save them at the beginning, $800, $900, maybe $1,000 a year, but it really protects them going forward, because every year thereafter, the value of their tax on cannot go more than a maximum of 3%, and it is so important that everybody files for homestead. If anybody out there in Dania Beach has not filed for homestead, please do it. You can do it by September 18th, because it'll make sure that the value you're taxed on won't go up more than 3%, and your market value and your assessed value won't skyrocket, which would make your property taxes skyrocket. Once you get that, there are so many other exemptions that people qualify for. My favorite exemption is called the low-income senior exemption. It's my favorite exemption because Broward County, again, is 2 million people, and about a third of our population are seniors. But unfortunately, on average, the most impoverished portion of our population are also seniors. And I always believe you can help a senior put money in their pocket, they can have a better life and better make ends meet. And so if anybody here in Dania Beach is 65 years of age or over as of January 1st, they made under last year right about $35,000. If they qualify and they have a homestead exemption, they can get another homestead exemption on top of it, basically the senior exemption, and it can still save them another $300, $400, $500. There are many other exemptions. You have very large exemptions for totally permanently disabled veterans. You have exemptions for widows, for people who are visually impaired. There's lots of them. So every resident of Dania Beach, please go on our website at bcpa.net, click on exemptions, and if there's something you're not getting, contact me by September 18th so we can make sure they're reflected in your tax bill. The other thing I wanted to quickly talk about before I spoke about owner alert and protecting people from title fraud is where Dania Beach is right now. And I was very excited actually to come speak with y'all because Dania Beach is doing superb. To give you an idea, if you just look at the market value, this isn't the value you use to put your millage rate on. This is basically just if you took all the commercial and residential property and you sold it on the open market. Last year in 2022, you would have got right about $6.8 billion. That's a lot of money. But fast forward 1 year, there's been an 18.14% increase to $7.185 billion in market value alone. That's a significant increase. That's actually outpacing most of the rest of the other cities in the county. Now, the taxable value is the value that you're going to be setting your millage rate on, which will determine the amount of money that you're going to bring in so you can provide great services to the people of Dania Beach. And in 2022, the taxable value was right about $5.15 billion. Fast forward this year, you have an amazing 24.36% increase in taxable value to right about $6.405 billion. And to put that in perspective, if you keep your millage rate the same, which is right about 5.9998, you'll get an additional $7.5 million more this year than last year. And something I think is very important for the residents is the vast majority of that increase is not being paid for by the majority of residents here in Dania Beach because the value they're taxed on, if they're homesteaded, can't go more than 3%. It's really because of significant new construction, especially an FP&L power plant, all the property that is being put on the tax roll at Dania Point, and by a lot of people coming into Dania Beach from other states and other counties and paying top dollar for properties. This year, there was about $717.9 million of new taxable value added to the tax roll. The Dania Beach Power Plant added about $621 million of tangible personal property alone. You had about $63.7 million that was put on for a multifamily, which was called the Stellar at Emerald Hills. You also had a $44 million warehouse put on. You also had $37 million property put on at Dania Point Apartments, and then two other very large ones. You had, which I'm very excited about this one, $22 million for the Dania Point Regal Theater. That is an awesome, fantastic theater. You actually feel like you're actually in the movie. That's how cool it is. And you also had an $11.5 million add-on, which was the Dania Point Shopping Center with Bolero, which is pretty great. You have 5,651 residents who have a homestead exemption here in the city of Dania Beach. You have 525 low-income seniors who receive a low-income senior exemption. And something I always like to talk about is you have 128 long-term seniors that pay no property taxes to Dania Beach. But I like to bring that up, and I want to single Dania Beach out because not every city in Broward County has a long-term senior exemption. They don't. About half, or a little more than half our cities do. And to qualify for that, not a lot of people qualify. You have to be over 65 years of age. You have to had made under $35,000. You had to have lived in your home for 25 years or more, and the value of your property at the time of your application had to be under $250,000. So not a lot of people qualify. About 128 people qualify. So what that means is the loss of revenue to you all is minuscule. You don't even see it. It's not even it doesn't even move a decimal point. It's tiny. But to those seniors who struggle to make ends meet, that's a lot of money they can put back in their pocket and have a better life. I hope that every city in Broward County follows Dania Beach's lead because that is a fantastic exemption that really helps some of our most vulnerable people. You also have 569 widows who receive an exemption. You also have 49 American Hero totally permanently disabled veterans who pay no property taxes to the city of Dania Beach. And you have one totally permanently disabled first responder that pays no property taxes. Right now, there have been 51 sales of single-family homes in Dania Beach this year so far. And the average sale price for a single-family home is right about $576,902. There have been 73 condominium parcels sold here in the city of Dania Beach this year so far, and the average sale price is about $262,842. The last thing I was hoping to talk about, Mr. Mayor, and to the Commission is something that's very near and dear to my heart, and that is cracking down on title fraud. And let me just explain that. Unfortunately, South Florida is the title fraud capital of the world. It's the capital of the world because you have criminals, that's what they are. They walk into the recording division for every county, they file fake deeds on people's properties, and they take those deeds and they try to extort people for money or mortgage rent or sell the property. They do it all the time. And the reason it's so easy for them is the recording division for every county has a ministerial duty. They have to accept whatever documents filed with them. So you have these criminals, they walk in, they file the fake deed, and they do something nefarious with it. So the first thing we wanted to do was give the people of Broward County the opportunity to fight the fraud before the fraud occurs. And about 2 years ago, we came up with a great program. It's free to the public. It's called Owner Alert. It's really a notification program letting people know if a document has been filed changing ownership in their property. And anybody in Dania Beach can just go on our website to sign up. They can go to bcpa.net. They click on their Owner Alert. They type in their name. They put in their parcel ID number, and they put in their email address. And if we have their email address on file, they're automatically verified. If we don't, they have to upload their Florida driver's license or Florida ID. If they don't have that, they have to upload a utility bill or something proving ownership. And then if any document, legitimate or not, is filed changing ownership in their property, they'll be notified instantaneously so they can make sure their title's not clouded and somebody can't steal their property. We also recently instituted a new portion for our Owner Alert, which you can now get a text message as well. So not only an email, you can get a text message and you can even get a hard copy in the mail. We've had 200,000 homeowners sign up so far for our Owner Alert program. And my goal is to get everybody to sign up because it's there to protect their most important asset, their home. And the last thing I wanted to just quickly speak about is what we're doing to hold the criminals accountable that are trying to steal people's properties. And so when we started our Owner Alert program a couple years ago, we started getting phone calls from people who would call us and they would say, Marty, there's been a document changing ownership of my property. I didn't do that. And we got more and more and more. And we realized how big of a deal it was. And so I asked the state of Florida if I could start a new program in our office called our Crimes Against Property Team, and they gave me the permission to do it. So we first hired 2 new investigators that were former law enforcement with significant investigatory experience. I then went over to see my buddy, Sheriff Tony, and I said to him, I go, Sheriff, we have a real problem in Broward County. We have these people filing fake deeds. They're picking on our most vulnerable communities. They're stealing their properties. They're doing really bad things. I want to work with you to build criminal cases against these people, and I want to help put them in jail. And he goes, Marty, not only will we enter into an interlocal agreement to work together, but I'm going to assign a sheriff's detective solely to work with you and your office that'll be housed within your office to help you build these criminal cases. Then I went over to our state attorney, Harold Pryor, and I said the same thing to Harold. And I go, Harold, this is what's going on. I would really love it if you would consider prosecuting the people that we bring to you. And he said, Marty, not only will we enter an interlocal agreement to work together, but I'm going to assign an assistant state attorney solely to work with your office to prosecute the people that are doing this. And we also have a Fort Lauderdale detective on staff now. We work with every single city in Broward County, with every law enforcement agency, and with the federal government as well. And we've actually been pretty successful. Over the past year, we've actually investigated about 185 individual cases of people who have been accused of stealing homes. Right now, we have 52 criminal investigations going on, all separate. We've arrested so far more than 17 people. We have dozens of open warrants, and there are many other people about to be arrested, and we've had a number of convictions. And I just want to give you a few examples just for the people of Dania Beach so they can really understand how serious this is and how smart these people are. There were two wives. One of the wives worked for one of our hospital districts. Another wife worked for the real estate industry. The wife that worked in the hospital district would find out when people would pass on. She would then take their confidential information, including their social security numbers, and give it to her wife in the real estate industry, who would find out if they had property in Broward County and if they had heirs here. If they had property and no heirs, they would file fake deeds on the properties. They would mortgage the properties, sell the properties, rent the properties. They profited in the amount of likely millions of dollars, but fortunately, they were found guilty, and they were both spending time in long prison sentences, and something I'm happy about. Even though they're a married couple, they're in different prisons, which I think is a good thing. Two other examples. Another example happened to a senior in Southwest Ranches, and it was actually on a pretty big parcel. And I have to tell you this, before I talk about this, the majority of people that they pick on are seniors, low-income people, our most vulnerable residents. But this is just another story about how smart they are. There was a man, he's not yet been convicted, he's been arrested. I think he's going to be convicted, and I think he'll serve a long time in prison. But he wasn't from Broward County. He was actually from Miami-Dade. And he found out somehow that there was a senior that was bedridden and very sick that owned a 5-acre parcel in Southwest Ranches. And what he did was he made a fake corporation with Tallahassee. He then made the officer and director of that corporation the sick man. He then filed a fake deed saying that that corporation owned the property, and he then made a fake ID saying he was that man. He then walked into a mortgage company in the city of Sunrise, and he goes to them and he goes, you know what, I've fallen on some hard times, made some bad financial decisions, I'm not doing well. However, I have this one thing, a 5-acre parcel free and clear, can I please have a $500,000 mortgage? And the mortgage company said, sure, we'll give it to you. And this is where they really should have realized something was fishy. The closing for a 5-acre parcel for $500,000 took place at a Burger King in Hialeah. So they go to the Burger King in Hialeah, and you have the bad guy trying to get the money. You have the mortgage company not doing their due diligence, and you have the smartest person in the room, the notary. And the notary's looking at this thinking that this is weird and doesn't make any sense. And so she asked the guy for his thumbprint, which he gave. She then contacted our office. We contacted the Town of Davie Police Department, because they police Southwest Ranches, and we contacted the U.S. Secret Service because they handle a lot of the identity theft cases in America. Fortunately, the man was arrested, and he's going to be standing trial. Unfortunately, he was given the full $500,000 mortgage. He spent about $80,000. We've recovered $420,000. One other example, because it's been in the news recently, and there's going to be a number of arrests that are going to occur in this. There were 3 people that were arrested recently, and their bonds are very significant. And they figured out how to use the court system to steal people's properties. And here's what they would do. You would have the bad guys, and they would file a quiet title action in circuit court, basically against a senior's property or a bank's property or a person's property. And they would say that senior no longer wants this property, or that bank no longer wants this property. Then the return of service would go to the guy's buddy who is in a mobile home in Hillsborough County. And he would say, oh yeah, I represent that senior, I represent that bank, I represent that person. Yeah, they don't want the property, put in this other guy's name. And unfortunately, the courts were stamping the orders and giving them these properties. They stole at least 17 properties that we found so far, and more. We actually find some every day. Fortunately, 3 of them were arrested recently, and many more are about to be arrested. The reason I wanted to quickly talk about those 3 stories, because it really shows how smart these people are. Every single case we get is just a little bit different. And that's why I hope everybody in Dania Beach that lives here, if you're a resident and you own property, please sign up for our free owner alert program. It's your first line of defense so these people can't steal your property. And I also like to talk about it. Everywhere I go, I like to scream about it from the rooftops, because I want everybody out there to know that if they want to do this in Broward County, they're not welcome here, and we're going to work very hard to make sure they serve a long time in prison. With that said, I appreciate you so much, and thank you so much, Commissioner Davis, for getting me on today. You all are awesome. I cannot wait to see you on the 19th when I go to Jackson's Ice Cream. I'm still trying to convince my wife to let me have the kitchen sink. She won't let me do it, but I'm like, just one time, come on. But thank you for having me. Does anybody have any questions? I just really appreciate y'all giving me an opportunity.
Hope everybody was paying attention.
Oh, yeah. 5 cups of coffee, 2 Red Bulls, and a Diet Coke. I'm very wired. That's what I do. Absolutely. My wife is not going to be happy when I get home. You know, she'd be like, leave. Definitely.
I have one thing real quick.
Oh, thank you, Lori.
Do you do auctions? No.
You know what? I always tell everybody, if politics doesn't work out, I would be a great auctioneer.
Yes, you would.
Without a doubt.
But I also want to say thank you for having your staff come here every month and sit in our atrium and help people out with anything that they need related to the property appraiser's office. So thank you for doing that.
No, and thank you, Lori. And I'm so sorry. I should have mentioned that before as well. You know, I'm very proud of our mobile exemption education team. They're really our outreach team. You know, our office is in downtown Fort Lauderdale, and they have normal business hours. So as you know, it's not very easy for the public to get to downtown Fort Lauderdale on a normal business hour. And so what we'd like to do is take our office to the public. And I think this year our MEET team will probably hit about 1,000 events. And Lori has been just so helpful in helping us come here to Dania Beach to have standing events, and we've been able to help so many residents of Dania Beach because you all have given us that opportunity.
And city staff, too.
And city staff is wonderful. And actually, honestly, as I said before, your city staff is so easy to work with. And something that I love is there's so much our office can do to help the public, but sometimes it's difficult reaching everybody. And as you know, there's nobody closer to the public than city commissioners and the mayor, than city staff. And there have been so many people we've been able to sign up for Owner Alert, give homesteads to, help with portability, solely because of the city of Dania Beach. And so I just really appreciate all of that. Thank you all so much. Definitely. Awesome. You guys are great. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And if you don't remember anything else, remember Frank DiPaolo deserves a raise. That's about it. I'm just kidding. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Marty. Do you want to get a picture or no? You want to get a picture? No?
No.
No? Okay,
No,
we're good.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
No, it's okay.
Marty, can you come over?
Can you just stand in front? We can just do a picture behind him.
Yeah, behind
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to have a picture with you all. Oh, that's awesome.
Frank, would you come on? Frank, come on.
Yeah, you and Frank in the front, Commission in the back.
A picture with Marty, that's like a race.
There you go.
Let me tell you something. If you guys ever want to run at any type of 5K, marathon, half marathon.
Oh, we have a
No, we
5K
have it
coming up.
October 22nd, 8 o'clock, Dania Point.
Oh, that would be fantastic. I'm going to do it, but I was going to say I'm not running with him because you put to shame so fast.
Oh, really?
This is like, I love Frank to death. We were running a full marathon. It's going great. I'm dying, and the guy just takes off. It's the worst feeling.
We're not running with Frank.
Oh,
Nobody.
trust me.
And Frank's not running with his son.
All right, please all look at me. Thank you. Paul?
And Jessica.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful to see you.
Thank you, Marty. Appreciate you.
Oh, Martha, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Marty.
Hi, everybody.
Former Mayor of Broward County, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, former Mayor of Broward County. And we have another former Mayor of Broward County, our very own Commissioner Beam Fur. He's going to come up here and discuss the interlocal agreement for solid waste disposal and recycling material process authority by the Broward League of Cities.
Marty makes me feel like I'm in slow motion.
I know, right? I know.
I feel like I'm crawling.
Yeah.
It's amazing, though. It's amazing the information he brought for you guys, though. That's some good stuff, especially that 24%. Wow. You guys put everybody else to shame. It's pretty amazing. First of all, really happy to be here today. You all know that we've been working on the interlocal agreement for years at this point, 3 or 4 years. And it is going very well. 17 cities have passed it. We're almost at the threshold. We have to get to 75% to be able to do this. There is, just real quick, let me just kind of tell you what it's about. Many years ago, the Broward County had delegated the authority to do disposal to Waste Management, and that went well for many years. Went well all the way up from 1990s all the way to 2013. At that point in the Resource Recovery Board, I was on it as a Hollywood City Commissioner. For many reasons, it fell apart. And since 2013, what you've seen is all the cities, many cities thought that they might be able to do it better, get better prices, all those kind of things with recycling, with disposal. It didn't work out that way. And what you're seeing now, and I'm looking at contracts that cities are getting throughout the county, those rates have skyrocketed. And I mean, I was at Plantation, their recycling rate was, they just signed for $168 a ton on tipping fees. Those are high numbers. Because right now you're paying $50 a ton if you're at Wheelabrator. And I think you guys are at Wheelabrator, right? Yeah. So those kind of things, what needs to happen is that needs to come back to the public sector. Right now, like I said, it's in the private sector. It needs to come back to the private sector because if all of us are doing this together, you're going to see transparency. You're going to be in control of what the costs are. You're going to be in control of the policies and all those things that would deal with anything to do with trash at all. You're at the table. You make the decisions. And every city would be part of the governing board. That's what you're voting on today. You're voting on the interlocal agreement that allows for that to happen. It also makes sure that what we hand off to our kids and to our grandkids is going to be the most environmentally sound way of doing business and doing trash that we can do. Right now, there's some real issues with the amount of, I'm also the chair of the Climate Change Task Force. And what we've seen over the last couple of years is that most of the methane gases and greenhouse gases, the second biggest generator of that is landfills. So what we don't want to do is have stuff go to landfills anymore. What we want to do is increase our recycling rate. Over the last couple of years, we had one of the highest recycling rates in the country. Now ours has dropped way low. Our landfill rate has gone way up. We don't want to do that. That doesn't look good for Broward, doesn't look good for the cities. So I'm asking you today to join with your fellow cities and with the county to create the interlocal agreement, create a solid waste board that you all are part of. You're at the table, you make the decisions, and together we find the best way forward. We find the best policies, we make sure we have the best costs, and we hand off to generations later the best thing that we can do. So I'm happy to take any questions. That was a quick trash talk right there. And happy birthday, Tamara.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Commissioner Davis?
I just want to say thank you to you, Commissioner Furr. I know that you and Mayor Greg Ross have been working for years and years and years and years on this. I know. I also want to say thank you to our public services team who's come and shown up at all these meetings, our city attorney. It was a huge collaborative effort, and, you know, I know what a champion you are for climate change and making sure that, you know, we are on the cutting edge of doing the very best we can in Broward County, and we want to do that partnership here with you in Dania Beach. So thank you for all of your hard work and your years of putting your blood, sweat, and tears to get this done. I know that I'm on board. I believe our commission will be on board. So I just want to thank you for. I don't know how I got on this
committee. I was a rookie on the county commission, is what happened. Yeah. That's what happened.
Well, you still saw it through, though.
I still saw it through. I got it through.
Perseverance.
Yes.
Good lesson.
Yeah, I know you've been working hard on this, Commissioner Furr, and you've definitely taught me a lot in our conversations. You know, just about where the recycling goes.
Yeah.
And it's good that we could actually have a little more authority and a little more say in what happens with our waste. So, you know, you're a champion of this, and just want to commend you on all your hard work on this. I know it's not easy. A lot of red tape.
And I think your residents want to be recycling. They want to know that the government's doing it right and doing it as well as they can. And that's what this is about. Any other questions? Too easy, Marco. Okay, well, thank you. Hope,
All right, let's get a picture with Commissioner Furr. We can't
Okay.
make him feel out of place. Come on.
I know. I felt so safe here a little while.
We still got a few.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, just stand there.
It's too much up and down. We're all getting old.
BSO Warsaw.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was here on the right side.
Yes, sir. Thanks for coming.
We got one more picture.
Oh, one more picture, one more picture. Really?
For which?
Bye, thank you, good to see you.
For the interlocal agreement, I think.
Over the threshold.
Yes. Thank you, Commissioner Furr. It's been a real special night with all the dignitaries that we've had. And, you know, I love to see that Dania Beach is getting more and more on the map. All right, for items 6, 7, 8, and 9, I was hoping that we could approve them all in one go. Oh, we didn't do 5 yet. Hold on. 5 with finance. Frank, we have a presentation. Yeah, item 3.5, the fiscal year 2021-22 annual comprehensive financial report by our CFO, Frank DiPaolo, and Keith McCullough, CPAs.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. I'm going to be brief, and I just want to tell you, first of all, that I'm proud to work here. I'm proud to be a part of this team. Dania Beach is Florida's or Broward's first city. 120 years later, you know, you have the same amount of opportunities on your horizon as we had back then when they were just developing this area. There's so much potential still, and I'm proud to be a part of this, what we're calling the Renaissance of Dania Beach, because there's just so much activity, and I learn something new every day. So I'm thankful to be here. I just wanted to briefly go over our fiscal year 21-22 annual financial report. This is one of 2 documents that we have to prepare every year. One of them is this annual report, and the other one is our budget book. And I'm proud to also say that we received the budget award for our 2021. I'm sorry, we received the annual financial report award of excellence for 2021. And we also received the budget award for our most recently published 23 budget document. That's the 3rd year in a row. It's the 3rd time we've tried. So thank you to all the finance department team, and thank you for all your support for allowing us to make such a nice book to put out to the public and show everybody what we're doing in the city. Just going to breeze through this one. Just so you're aware, all of our stuff that we report in this financial report is pursuant to the GASB. It's kind of like the FASB. It's Government Accounting Standards Board. So it's very technical, but there's also some really good information about the city. Keith McCullough is our auditor. This is the 2nd year they've been auditing the city and assisting us with our financial report. They're here tonight. They're going to give a very quick report on their findings for the year. But just to sum it up, there were no findings of any consequence. We had a clean audit. We had a clean opinion. And we had a few comments from prior years. Those have all been satisfied, and those are gone, and there's no new comments. And we're just very happy to be working at this level at this point. No violation of internal controls, no financial emergency, no issues with our investments or our public funds, and as I mentioned, no prior year, no audit findings for this current year. We also did have a single audit because of mostly because of the ARPA money that we received. We received more than $750,000 of federal funds, so we had to undergo a separate audit for that. We also had to undergo an audit for the surtax money, which we've been receiving for Southeast Stormwater section, and we also have a new stormwater project on the horizon that's being funded right now for over $2 million. And we're happy about that project as well, and the funds that we're receiving for that. We did receive that certificate of excellence, as I mentioned, for 21. Our financial report is more than just financial statements. It's a story about the city and everything that happened in the past year, and it really gets into detail and also provides some interesting statistics about the city and exactly what it is that comprises all of our worth here in Dania Beach. So on the financial side, all good news across the board. we had basically increases in both our government activities, which is all of the stuff that that doesn't include our water, sewer, and stormwater. So just all the government-wide stuff. We had an increase in our net position, and that's really just due to increases in the financial resources that we have, and just good financial results from several of the operating funds. Our unrestricted net assets net increased to about $63 million. That's going to change a little bit as we go on and build the C.W. Thomas project, and some of that will kind of shake out. But right now, it looks really good because we received the loan money, but we haven't actually converted it into an asset yet. On the business type side, that's our water, sewer, stormwater utility. We also had really good financial results. We had a $5 million overall increase. And these numbers I'm talking about is if you were to look at the city as a business and look at all of the assets and all the liabilities and all of our debts, it's kind of like when you look at your own personal financial situation, you talk about your net worth versus just saying, hey, do I have cash to pay my bills for the next 2 months? Okay, so this is more of like a holistic view of the finances of the city and all obligations that are out there and all things that are due to the city. We report all that in these government-wide financial statements, and it looks really good for us when we go to issue more debt and if we want to get a bond rating for future bond issues. On the fund level, this is more of what I was talking about, like a cash basis. This is like, hey, can I pay my mortgage next month? Can I put food on the table? Can I put gas in my car? This is very 30-day, 60-day, short-term focus. And we did have increases in the general fund. Our overall reserves went up very slightly, but that's due to a few things that changed this year. One of which was we reported the $1 million affordable housing loan that we gave to City Place. That came out of our reserve because that's a loan that we had committed to them at the time. Our disaster reserve went up a little bit because that's a percentage of our total reserves. And it's good that we have that $8.8 million cushion in the event of a hurricane or some other unfortunate event. We have the cash to lay out before we get reimbursed by FEMA. So thank you for adopting that policy last year. And then our unassigned reserves went up very slightly, but again, we're in really good financial health with the $26 million that we have unassigned in our general fund. To talk, like I said, about $91,000. That equates to several, well, let me back up. Our policy requires that we have about 25% of our operating expenditures in unassigned reserves, and we right now, that would be $16 million based on our current year budget. So, so really, we're way ahead of that, and we're really kind of stable and secure in our finances. Talking briefly about the utility funds, these are our enterprise funds and also our other enterprise funds, which are going to be changing for the coming year. Our water fund went up by $1 million, our sewer fund went up by about $500,000, and our stormwater fund went up by almost $2 million. So we have plenty of reserves set aside in those funds, and one of the items that's before you tonight is to adjust our water and sewer rates, and we haven't increased them since 2011, and we don't plan on increasing them for several years, but what we're doing is a shifting in the way that we assign those fees, and we're lowering our sewer charges and increasing our water charges, and that's going to help put some more money into the water fund, where it's a little bit more needed right now for future infrastructure, and it's keeping the cost, actually lowering costs for our residents for the next few years, which is a really good thing. Stormwater fund is also doing very well, and as you know, we've discussed infusing some more cash into that through an increase to the stormwater assessment in the coming year. The other enterprise funds, Marina Pier and Parking Fund, those are, the predominance of the parking fund is down at the beach. It's that big parking lot that we have there. And then we also have the Marina and the Pier Fund there. And those are assets for the city. Those are economic engines. And what we're doing administratively for the coming year is combining those funds into a single enterprise fund called the Ocean Park Enterprise. And because, you know, if we have a marina but we don't have parking, then we can't really have a marina. If we have a pier but we don't have parking, how can people go to the pier? And then the parking, you know, is there to serve the beach as well, but it also, there's this kind of an economic synergy down there between all these assets, and it really makes sense to combine the resources that allow us to do things going forward as we want to continue to invest down there and, you know, make more investments in the pier and make more investments in the marina. We can leverage all the finances down there to do those improvements. And this is what I'll wrap up with. The tax base, as you heard, went up 24.36% for the coming year. And if you look at the increases for the past 3 years, it's almost doubling every year, which is like exponential increase. It's not just kind of going up. It's like on an arc right now. Now, we're not going to see 24% again next year. But as you can see, we had for the past 2 years, for this current year and for next year, around 10.5% increase on our existing properties. That's not including any of the new development. And when you look at last year, it was 12.5%, so we had a 2% increase due to the new properties. This year, we have 14% of our increase of the 24 is all because of new value coming onto the roll. So that's all that new development. It's predominantly commercial development, mostly probably 99% of it. And that just bodes well for our tax base. When we shift the burden of the tax bill onto the commercial sector, that is the best thing we can do long term because it preserves the amounts. As the property appraiser was saying, we want to have our residents paying as minimal as possible, and having our commercial properties to be able to subsidize a lot of these costs is exactly why we want that kind of development in the city. So licenses and permits, we still see a lot of revenues coming in because of the future development projects, and Eleanor can talk to you all about that. Our pension liabilities, we actually have a pension asset in the police and fire, which is fantastic considering just a few years ago they were around like 60% funded. And then the general employees has also a very small net pension asset. What that basically means is the health of these pensions are very strong, and we're going to continue to support them and make sure that, that those liabilities are taken care of. We have an OPEB, which is something we don't talk about often, but it's basically our commitment to provide health care for all of our retirees citywide. And it's something that we have to include in our financial statements, and right now that liability went down again. It was recently about $14 million. We brought you a policy a few years ago that it required that we do some funding and put some assumptions in place, and now we've been able to drop that down to about a $3 million liability, which is pretty tremendous. So again, that makes us look good when we look at that overall financial perspective of the city and all these commitments that we have. Lastly, you know, we have that ARPA funding. We still have kind of like that ace up our sleeve, and we have a lot of great projects that are planned out for that, and that'll help us help support some of these infrastructure programs and projects that we have planned for the next few years. So with that, I am through, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have, but I also want to give our auditor a moment to just give a brief report on their findings for the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Good evening. Excuse me. My name is Mark Grace. I'm with Keith McCullough, one of the partners. We're in the independent auditors for the year ended, as Frank just kind of did my job for me as I'm watching him from the background. But I agree with everything Frank was going over. I just kind of want to touch on a couple of things that we as auditors look at. You know, most importantly, we obviously go do a deep dive into the financials. We gave a clean opinion on the financials. We also do thorough internal control testing, compliance testing related to like ARPA funding that he was just mentioning. We had to do a deep dive into that this year because you were required for a federal single audit. We had no deficiencies or material weaknesses that came about when we were doing our testing. All in all, when we deal with Frank and the rest of his department, when we ask for things, they provide it on a timely basis. Like he had mentioned, there were some findings a couple of years ago. Those have not come back. You know, those have gone away. We didn't have any new ones this year. If there were any findings, not only do we have to report them to you, we also have to report it to the Florida Auditor General. If there's other deficiencies, if there's any financial conditions or weaknesses, that we have to report that up the chain to the Florida Auditor General itself, and that's all included in this report. It doesn't seem like a lot to everyone when we look at this report, but these reports are getting longer and longer, and Frank will attest to that. So there's a lot of hard work that goes into it, and when we come out, like I said, you know, all the transactions are in the proper period. We don't really have any issues. There's never any disagreements with Frank. They have an open, you know, we have an open dialogue throughout the year. If there's any issues, he notifies us and we talk it through, which thankfully there's not many with Frank. But we do have new standards that come out that we have to discuss throughout the year. With that, I didn't really have anything else. We work for the board or the commission. So if you guys ever have a question, I'm happy to answer one right now or anytime in the future.
Any questions from the commission? Nope. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
your report. Very thorough. We're in a good position right now.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, for the sake of time, with the special event requests, I'm going to pile them all into one approval. So I'll read them off. We have a special event request from Panther Fireworks LLC to host Panther Fireworks every day sale beginning Monday, June 19th through Tuesday, July 4th, and it's held at 4650 Southwest 30th Avenue from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. They've been doing this for years. We also have our other fireworks store, Neptune TNT Fireworks. They host TNT Fireworks sale every day beginning Sunday, June 25th through Tuesday, July 11th, and it's held at 768 East Dania Beach Boulevard from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. We also have a special event request for the second annual Juneteenth Freedom Day celebration 2023, and we have a special event request for the Men of Honor Kickball Tournament. Those are both Parks and Recreation items. So, Commissioner James, do I have a motion?
Yes, I make a motion to approve items 3.6, 3.7, 3.8, and 3.9.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner James. I have a second from Vice Mayor Llewellyn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes unanimously. Special event requests are passed. All right, now on to proclamations, and we have a proclamation of Monday's Italian Restaurant for their 30th anniversary, and this is sponsored by our very own Commissioner Joyce L. Davis. Sorry, Commissioner Davis. Go ahead.
Okay, now I am ready to talk about my favorite things: food, family, fun, community, and service. And that is what we are here to celebrate this evening. So let's just give a round of applause for 30 years of Monday's Restaurant in the city of Dania Beach. We are beyond excited. If you know me, you know I'm a foodie from my heart. And my favorite is, and it's not just because your name, but it is the Will's House Specialty. It is spicy, it has garlic, it has shrimp, it has hot pepper, and everything that I absolutely love. I know Joanna loves the pasta Anna, and we always get the same things when we go because we just absolutely love it. And what's absolutely amazing is that Will comes over to our table, Yvette comes over, they make sure we're good. This is the fabric of Dania Beach. This is the foundation of Dania Beach. This is what makes our community special and unique because you guys make sure that we feel like family every single time that we come into your restaurant. So thank you, thank you, thank you for all that you have done for the city of Dania Beach. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation, and then we'll go ahead on and we'll have you guys come up for a picture. But I really want you. This is special. This is a unique Yvette, your daughter. Really, we kind of put the whereas, but it was done by your family to make a tribute to you. And so I really just want to make sure that you know that it is from the heart, from your family, as I read this proclamation. And I always say grandma, so we're going to say nonas. Nonas, is that how we say it? Nanas, nonas. I like to say things properly. That just, we're gonna call it nonas. All right, we're good. All right. What she said. All right. Whereas Monday's Italian Restaurant, the home-style family restaurant that sends you right back to Sunday suppers at Nona's, is celebrating 30 years of bringing delicious food to South Florida. And whereas Will and Joyce Umundo established Mondays in Hollywood, Florida in 1993 and spent 12 wonderful years as a staple in the Hollywood community before moving the restaurant closer to home in Dania Beach. And whereas for the last 18 years, Will and Joyce and their family have been the friendly faces greeting you as you enter the cozy corner spot at 330 East Dania Beach Boulevard, visiting each table to catch up with the customers, send well wishes to their family, and of course, make sure everything tastes delicious. And whereas it is not uncommon to see the same faces week after week tasting the current specials or sharing a plate of traditional Italian recipes, and whereas throughout the years, Mondays has become a second home to local families celebrating milestones each year with the best hosts, Will and Joyce as they eat their favorite Italian meals. And whereas 30 years of fabulous food, celebrations, laughters, and smiles has brought the Imundo family incredible joy and provided wonderful memories to reflect on as they begin their retirement. And whereas Will and Joyce will still pop in to greet familiar faces as they start their next chapter, and the legacy will live on as Mondays continues to provide amazing Italian food to the Dania Beach community. Now, therefore, on behalf of the City of Dania Beach and our Mayor, Ryan IV, the City of Dania Beach, do hereby declare June 13th, 2023 as Monday's Italian Restaurant 30th Anniversary Day in the City of Dania Beach, and we'll do congratulate Will and Joyce Imundo on this fabulous milestone anniversary and wish them well along and wish them a long and enjoyable retirement for many, many years to come, dated this 13th day of June, 2023. Let's get it. I wouldn't go down. I have this proclamation. If you would guys want to come up for a photo. Are we? Is it a lot? Come. Yeah, I'm gonna go down. Let's go down. Look at the stairs. Alexa, where do I have to If they were Greek, they would have. That's right. Get by your husband.
Take your space behind. All right, can I have all eyes on me? On you. Yeah, we're fighting here for. Beautiful. Thank you. Beautiful.
Okay.
Drink on the dais. I'm not
Yeah,
opposed
right.
to it.
I'm
You can't drink before. You have to drink on.
Yeah, no.
I know.
Go down there shaking hands and like she smells good.
They knew exactly when to leave. Really? Yeah, that's why they ended up back. That was beautiful.
That's one thing. Doesn't it?
You watched when to come over, you son of a.
Of course we did. I texted you and told you to come over.
Yeah, exactly. Something that's not loud, I guess.
No, what do you mean? I gotta get coffee right now. No, I do, I really do. What's next? No, I got. Hers is retroactive.
You just need approval, that's all. This is just for approval, yeah. Okay. Huh? How many what? Oh, like 4? It's not that bad.
Talk about you got 30. No, you don't.
1, 2, 5. I have 5. Okay, congratulations, Mondays. It's always great to have small businesses that get recognized in this city. I appreciate it. I know. Let them do it. These. I know, yeah. They got to get a couple of. Party at Mondays after, guys? Right now? Yeah? Yeah? All right. I'll be there. Okay, item 4.2, it's retroactive approval of expression of sympathy for Miss Evelyn Williams. This is needs approval. It's sponsored by Commissioner James. Do I have a motion, Vice Mayor?
I'll move to approve it.
Motion from Vice Mayor to approve.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Salvino. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is passed.
Okay.
Okay, now we'll move on to citizen comments.
Make sure you tell us.
First citizen comment, we will have our President of the Historical Society, Joanna Gurnett. Please state your name and address.
Joanna Gwinnett, 450
Clerk
Southeast.
on the clock. Okay.
I'm going to keep it quick anyway. Joanna Gwinnett, 450 Southeast 7th Street, Department 251. Hello and good evening. It's a very quick one for me tonight. I just want to say a very big thank you to the city for giving the Historical Society an office. And we can't wait to get started, so I just want to say thank you. So that's it. Thank you all.
Short and sweet. Thank you. You're welcome. On behalf of the city. Okay, next, Miss Mosley, Polly Jones Mosley. Miss Mosley, please state your name and address.
My name is Polly Jones Mosley. My address is 701 West Dania Beach Boulevard, apartment 306, Dania, Florida, 33004. Good afternoon, Mayor Ryan, Vice Mayor Joyce Laurie. I'm losing my thoughts. And all of the commissions and also the city manager. Thank you all. On behalf of the Dania Beach Historical Society, on Saturday, we will be attending the Juneteenth event at CW Park. We will have a table set up to represent the history of Dania Beach. On last Wednesday, the Historical Society attended a tour at Dillard Museum, led by Emmanuel George, where we learned about Broward's Black history, where if you haven't been there, you should go. It was very enlightening, very educational, and it was great. So again, if you didn't go, make sure you go. And on July 1st, the Historical Society teamed up with the Lions Club. We will be having residents doing oral history or their stories, taking photos, anything that would be kept for generations to come to better understand the city and the residents of Dania Beach. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Miss Mosley. Okay, next we have Michael Sarton. Can you please state your name and address, sir?
Hi, my name is Mike Sarton, 746 Southwest 3rd Street, Dania Beach, Florida. Good evening, all. First, I want to thank BSO for their help with a chronic noise problem near where I live. They've been exceptionally professional and have evidenced a true understanding of our city's approach to noise. You've all received an article from the New York Times by Emily Baumgartner. Noise could take years off of your life. And in case you haven't had an opportunity to read it, I have the Reader's Digest version here, unless I drop it. Research suggests that average noise levels climb, so do overcorrect reactions in your body that contribute to cardiovascular disease and other health issues. As a general rule, the World Health Organization considers average road traffic noise above 53 decibels and average airline noise above 45 decibels to be associated with adverse health outcomes. I'll sum up the physiology for you. A portion of your brain called the amygdala causes the adrenal gland sitting on top of your kidneys to release adrenaline, also known as epinephrine, which initiates a series of pro-inflammatory hormones that contribute to hypertension, stroke, arteriosclerosis, cardiovascular disease, and death. Your risk of dying from cardiovascular disease increases 2.9% for every 10 decibel increase in ambient noise. And that's the sum total of it, the Reader's Digest version. These handy apps work extraordinarily well. And if you loved calculus, you'll love reading about decibels. It's interesting stuff. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Sarton. Thank you for coming out today. Okay, next we have Stephanie Joffe. Joffe. Miss Joffe, please state your name and address.
My name is Stephanie Joffe. I reside at 5880 Southwest 37th Terrace in Dania Beach. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I have come to speak in favor of the interlocal agreement for solid waste disposal and recycling. As you all know, the Broward County League of Cities Solid Waste Working Group has been working diligently for over 2 years to put together this agreement with the goal of allowing the cities and the county to come together to create a public, transparent, and coherent plan to deal with the 4 million tons of trash produced by the residents of Broward County each year. Observing the meetings, I have come to respect how much the representatives from the cities and the county genuinely care about creating a solution that will work well for all parties and the citizens of Broward County. Tonight, you will be voting on whether to allow representatives of the county, the cities, and knowledgeable technical advisors to develop a master plan for waste reduction, recycling, and disposal, which you will eventually be voting on. This is not an approval of the final or master plan, only an approval to move forward to develop the plan. This plan would have many benefits for the residents of Dania Beach and the entire county. The first and most obvious is decreased costs due to the economy of scale and eliminating the profit motive of private industry by replacing it with a transparent public infrastructure. But in addition to the financial benefits, the master plan will focus on reducing the amount of solid waste that enters our landfill and county incinerator in the first place. It is the stated goal of the working group to educate the community to reduce the amount of solid waste produced and make it easier for residents to knowledgeably recycle and to compost the approximately 25% of organic waste that currently enters our landfill and incinerator. This plan will be developed with the input of advisors aware of the latest technologies to develop the most environmentally sustainable system possible. Landfill is the second largest contributor to greenhouse gases that contribute to climate change, which puts Dania Beach at more risk than many areas of many areas of the country, and even at higher risk than some other cities in Broward County due to our proximity to the ocean and the effects of sea level rise and flooding. I am hopeful that the master plan will obviate the need for any additional landfill space or an additional incinerator by making them unnecessary. For all these reasons, I urge you to approve the ILA and allow us to move forward with a plan which will save us money, be more transparent, and most importantly, be more sustainable than what we are currently doing. Thank you. Do I get a picture? Anyone?
Thank you, Mrs. Joffe. Maybe after we vote on it, huh? Okay, that's it for citizens' comments. So, on to public safety reports. And we'll start with our Captain Tarala. Everybody came out for you, Captain. No, gone, yeah.
Again, first, before I start, thank you again for that fantastic ceremony, swearing-in ceremony. Thank you. Believe it or not, the most for me was my mom. My mom was so happy she was crying in the parking lot. So, thank you very much. It meant the world to her. Commissioners, Vice Mayor, Mayor, City Manager. I got a couple, 3 incidents I want to talk about over the last couple of weeks. They were very good arrests that were made by our deputies, and I want to bring it to your attention. The first one was an armed robbery that occurred over Arbor car, and during that, a security guard and the suspect got into a shooting in Parent Pines. The shots were fired as the suspect fled. A BOLA was issued for that vehicle. Using our LPR system that the city has purchased for us, the vehicle hit our LPR system, and it came back that it was just involved in a shooting. Our deputies immediately responded to the area, and they were able to locate that vehicle at the 600 block of West Dania Beach Boulevard. Our detectives tactically watched the driver of the vehicle, who matched the description of the suspect from the shooting, exit the vehicle. They tactically took down the suspect without him knowing we were watching him. We were able to get him into custody. On his person, he had the firearm on his person, and he was positively identified as the suspect who was just involved in the shooting and the robbery of that armed guard in Parent Pines. FBI took over the investigation, and he is currently wanted for at least 20 armed robberies, including casinos, and I believe they now sent him to Puerto Rico for over 20 armed robberies throughout the Tri-County area and Puerto Rico. So it is a phenomenal arrest by our guys. And honestly, if it wasn't because of our LPR system, we never would have known that he was in our city. And we believe that he ditched that vehicle because he got in a shooting at that location, and he was walking down Dania Beach Boulevard to carjack someone else, because that vehicle was taken to carjacking too. So our LPR system is the reason why we got that subject in custody and saved a resident of Dania from being a victim of a violent robbery. Last month, we received a call of an individual committing a vulgar criminal act of public nudity, masturbating in front of victims at a bus bench. Our detectives worked tirelessly to identify this suspect, and through their investigative means, I can proudly say our detectives identified the suspect and identified him and placed him in the custody earlier in the week. Post Miranda, the defendant admitted to his crime, and a background check of him showed that he had a prior conviction for indecent exposure, and he was charged with felonies exposure of sexual organs and taken to the main jail. So it was a fantastic job by our detectives to track him down and get him into custody. Last week, our deputies responded to an incident at the hotel off of State Road 84, reference to a disturbance in the hotel room. While on scene, the deputies heard commotion coming from inside and screams. Our deputies had to breach and make entry into the hotel room for the safety of the individual. Once they were inside that room, our deputy was violently attacked with a metal object across his face. Our deputy fired his weapon in self-defense. They retreated outside the room. Our SWAT team then responded, and through negotiations, the individual still would not come out. We had to go inside and extract, I'm trying to use this properly, had to get him to come out with the help of a canine, and we were able to get the subject in custody, and he was charged with multiple felonies. But I want to give you an update on our deputy. Our deputy was cleared to come back to full duty on Saturday. With his injuries, he's okay. He missed a couple days, but he is back now, and he is fully recovered. Today, our Dania Beach Neighborhood Response Team resumed the summer break spot program, which started. That consists of they visit 4 camp locations each week, designated by each day. And what they do is that they introduce BSO assets to the programs. So today, what they did is that they worked in a partnership with our SWAT team, and they brought the SWAT vehicle out to, and their SWAT members out to the camp today. This gives the kids an opportunity to climb on the SWAT vehicle, look inside the SWAT vehicle, talk to the SWAT guys, and also gives an opportunity at the lowest level, youngest age, to build a partnership with law enforcement. I know that's a huge commitment that we have here in Dania Beach, the city manager, the commission, for us to get to the youth. And this is a great way that the kids can have a great relationship with our deputies at a very young age. And that will continue throughout the entire summer. We'll have different assets every week going to all the camps. And the Summer Splash event kicked off this weekend at PJ Melly Park, and that kicks off the summer. And our deputies were out there with the BSO tent. They provided goodies. They gave stuff away to the kids. And again, that's just another way that the kids get to see law enforcement in a positive manner. And that's what we're trying to do, is get to the kids at a young age where they see us as a friend instead of an enemy. And last but not least, I know we're working in partnership with the city manager and the commission and downtown BSO to get the recruiting initiative going on, which is July 15th, I believe. I think, Shalon, is that July 15th? July 15th, and it's going to be a fantastic event. A lot's going into it, but it really is going to be a fantastic event. I think we're going to get a lot of people show up. I think it'll be a really nice partnership between everybody. So that's all I have right now.
All right. Thank you, Captain. Commissioner James?
Yes. First and foremost, I do want to give kudos to BSO. There have been a lot of dangerous crimes that have been committed that could have turned deadly, could have involved a lot more police involvement with shootings, and you guys have retrieved the suspects without violence. And so I think it's underrated, the amount of gratitude that we have for that, because this city could easily be another Ferguson, another, Missouri, or those types of cities where you have those interactions. And I can't imagine the type of discipline, poise, and respect that you all have, even for suspects in your own lives. So I just want to thank you. I thank you because that does not go without being noticed, and it's very important that we show that we still have dignity for everyone that's in the city. So thank you for that. And I know I complain a lot about the block parties in the Northwest sections. There was not a single block party in the Northwest section this last weekend. It was easy to drive your car down the street and not be stopped by a lot of loitering, a lot of gathering that leads to sometimes the violence and some stuff. So thank you for that. I know this is week one. Yes, ma'am. So just wanted to publicly thank you.
And that's not going to stop. We have that team in place that's there strictly for the block parties, because we do know what the block parties lead to. So that's been a priority of me and my executive team, and Sergeant Seapod, who a lot of you know, who run the crime suppression team, to stop the block parties. And we're hoping by doing that, it'll stop the violence that occurs with it. So that will not stop. That's an ongoing initiative of mine. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Captain Terrell. All right. First public safety report. All right, and now our old chief. Well, our long-standing fire chief.
You mean your favorite chief?
Yeah. Sorry we couldn't have the push-in ceremony. Weather did not permit it today, but we definitely look forward to the future push-in ceremony when we can get it.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioners, City Manager, City staff, and all the great citizens of Dania Beach. So I understand we couldn't have the push-in ceremony, but when it rains, you have to pivot. I learned that today about pivoting. So thanks to the City Commission and City staff and the administration, we were able to get our one of our fire trucks is currently being refurbished, meaning they're taking the truck right down to the chassis and making it brand new. So when it comes back, it's going to be a brand new truck. So at that point, I'm going to rededicate that truck. So we're going to have to push in a fire truck and a rescue truck. So when that truck comes back, we'll reschedule for then, and we'll make sure that we plan for a non-rainy day for that day. But this is Florida, so we'll figure it out. Either way, we'll make it happen. Over the last month, our units responded to 686 total calls. 612 of them were EMS related. 74 were fire related. And then 20 of those calls were elevator rescues. That's the most elevator rescues we've had since I've been here. So we're going to be working with our crews. Where were they? I don't have that. I could tell you it was, but I'll let you know where they were. I'll specifically tell you each address. But what we'll do is I have a friend of mine that's at Elevators Union, and I'll ask him to make sure that we go over the proper ways to rescuing people out of the elevator, which we already know how to do it, but it's always good to refresh our crews. When you have that many calls, you need to get better at it, and you need to train. So that's our goal for this month. Something that I've never reported to you in the past was our busiest areas, busiest calls zones. So Juan Juliet, which is the area between Dania Beach Boulevard and Sharon Street and Southwest 4th Ave and the Federal Highway. That is one of the busiest pockets for calls, EMS, fire, or any kind of calls. That was here in the east side of Dania. On the west side of Dania was we call it 17K because we have everything numbered by letters. Griffin Road, the area between Griffin Road and Southwest 42nd Street, which is right where our other fire station's at, in between Ravenswood Road and which is Anglers Avenue also, and Southwest 35th Avenue. Those were our two busiest zones for this month, and they usually are those are pretty busy areas. And now that it's summertime, and we said hello to summer this past weekend, I just want to bring something up for our audience that's listening. I want to bring up some safety tips for water. I just want to make sure you check your gates on your pools. Make sure that if a child goes missing, you check the water first. Learn how to do CPR, and always keep rescue equipment near the pool if you have it. Make sure somebody's always watching for your children, and make sure, please, enroll your children in swim lessons. And the biggest one for me, which was something that I think is something everybody in our audience and our home audience should pay attention to, is when you're keeping your eyes on the kids, please stay off your phone. If you have to take a phone call, limit the conversation or designate somebody to be the pool watcher. So if any message I can send home to anybody today, that would be it. And I thank you for your time, and we'll make this next push-in happen as soon as our truck comes back. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Looking forward to it.
Any questions?
No, but I will add, as a parent of 2 young children, they say even at parties, never assume that someone's watching your child. It's on you. Make sure you're always watching. Never assume that somebody else is watching. And, I guess side note, I'm proud to announce my 2.5-year-old daughter just learned how to swim.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
So thank you. Yeah, it's very important. Thank you for bringing that up, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it for the public safety reports. Now on to the consent agenda. Are there any items that the commission wishes to remove from the consent agenda? We'll start with you, Commissioner James.
No, I just want to make a motion.
Okay, well, I would like to remove item 7.9.
All right, any others? I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of 7.9.
Can I just, I'm sorry, read the ordinance on here, which is at 7.7 prior to your vote?
Okay.
It's an ordinance of the City Commission amending Chapter 12.5 entitled Fortune Tellers, Palmists, Clairvoyants, and Astrologers by amending Section 12.5-2 entitled Issuance, Revocation of Business Tax Receipt, Section 12.5-3 Judicial Remedy by Circuit Court, and amending Chapter 21 Sales and Auctions at Article 4 Auctions and Auctioneers, Section 21-52 Issuance and Revocation of License to require all the following uses: fortune tellers, palmists, clairvoyants, astrologers, auctioneers to adhere to special business tax requirements, which requirements are amended to provide administrative review by staff and de novo appeal to the City Commission after public hearing and an appeal to the courts of the City Commission decision, sales and auctions, providing for codification, conflicts, severability, and effective date. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I have a second motion. All in favor? Aye. All right, the consent agenda is passed with the exception of item 7.9. Okay, now to item 7.9. I'm going to recuse myself from the vote. And
Let me read the item. It's a resolution
Yeah,
of the
please
City
read the item.
Commission authorizing the proper city officials to enter into agreements with the 7 firms that submitted responses to the city's request for qualifications, number 22-031, outside legal counsel in various practice areas, which may exceed an annual vendor threshold amount of $50,000, providing for conflicts and an effective date.
I'll make a motion to approve item 7.9.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, now we have bids and requests for proposals. Item 8.1.
A
Eve?
resolution of the City Commission authorizing an award of ITB 2023-1 entitled Infiltration and Inflow Removal Phase 2 Mainline Repair to Viet National Corporation in an amount not to exceed $2,041,450, provided for conflicts and effective date. This is public services.
Commissioner James?
Oh, nothing. You have a presentation?
No, just in case if you have any questions.
Okay. I make a motion to approve. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Make a motion to approve 8.1.
I have a motion from Commissioner James. I have a second from Vice Mayor Llewellyn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Any opposed? All right. The resolution passed unanimously. Thank you. Okay, now on to public hearings. Item 9.1. Eve.
An ordinance authorizing the expenditure of city funds exceeding $1 million, which expenditures not to exceed the project estimate of $2,041,450 approved by the City Commission to fund the Infiltration and Inflow Removal Phase 2 Mainline Repairs Project, providing for severability, conflicts, and an effective date. This is second reading, public services.
Any discussion? This is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak on this item?
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion from Vice Mayor Llewellyn,
Second.
second from Commissioner James. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Item 9.1 passed unanimously. Item 9.2, please.
An ordinance approving the right-of-way vacation request submitted by property owners of the City of Dania Beach for the property portion of Southwest 2nd Terrace of Southwest 2nd Place, generally located north of and south of Mulliken Park at 230 Southwest 1st Court, and is located within the City of Dania Beach, providing for conflict, severability, and an effective date. First reading, community development.
Hi, good evening. I'm Corinne LaJoy. This application is for the vacation of right-of-way near the Mulliken Park, and we're proposing the vacation of the right-of-way, the unimproved right-of-way on the north and south sides of the park. This is the aerial location of the property. It's located south of Sterling Road. So some background about the application itself. The commission, as you know, just approved a Parks Master Plan identifying upgrades to city parks, including this park, Mulliken's Park. The city is proposing to vacate approximately 210 linear feet of right-of-way adjacent to the park. Existing unimproved right-of-way runs from Southwest 1st Avenue to Southwest 1st Court and does not provide access to Mulliken Park or the surrounding residential parcel. So the vacation you won't be missing anything through the vacation. The vacation process is identified in the Land Development Code, and the applicant is required to provide evidence of notification to all utilities, which the city has done. We list the dates of the notification to all those utilities in the staff report, and it's on the screen in front of you. This is a graphic of the park and the right-of-way on the north and south side. And if you see, I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but it's divided because once the area is vacated, that land, half of the land will be given to the adjacent property owner. So the property owners on the four corners of the park will be getting a part of that unimproved right-of-way as well. So there are criteria identified in the Land Development Code. There are two. The first is whether the vacation would adversely affect access to neighboring properties, which this will not. And the second is whether the subject right-of-way or easement is needed for any public purpose. And as we just notified all the utilities, we received no comments about needing to maintain the area for any of those utilities. The application does support the city's strategic plan by furthering several goals that are identified on the screen and in the staff report as well. The item did go before the Planning and Zoning Board last month, where the Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval of the application request, and city is recommending approval of the request as well. And I'm available if you have any questions.
Any questions? Discussion? No? This is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak on this item? Okay, Commissioner James?
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion from Commissioner James to approve. I have a second from Commissioner Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. It's passed unanimously. All right, on to item 9.3.
An ordinance amending Chapter 28 of the Land Development Code, Part 8, Technical Appendix at Article 811, Public Art Program, at Section 811.15, and Section 811.70, Building Permits, to clarify that for a developer to place public art on developer's property, the developer is to, 1, pay 0.25% towards the art fund, and 2, pay an additional 0.25% to escrow to ensure the construction and timely placement of the public art on the developer's property in compliance with the program, and 3, clarifying that the escrow funds are returned to the developer if compliance is achieved. Otherwise, the escrow funds are deposited into the city's art fund for the use in the city's public art program, providing for codification, conflict severability, and an effective date. Second reading, community development.
Good evening. This is second reading of the ordinance, and this is the ordinance that just explains and clarifies that the escrow funds collected as part of the public art fund will be returned once public art is installed on the site.
This is a public hearing. Does anybody from the public wish to speak on this item? I have a motion from Vice Mayor Llewellyn to approve. I have a second from, we'll say Commissioner James. Well, her light was on.
It doesn't matter. It
Her light
doesn't
was on.
matter. I'm not gonna argue about no second.
Okay. It's big. People are keeping tabs on those seconds now. Okay, so we'll say I have a motion from Vice Mayor, a second from Commissioner James. And all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Nope. Ayes have it. Laura, passed, unanimously. Okay, that's it for public hearing. Now on to discussion and possible action with item 10.1.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach pursuant to Section 811-140 of the LDC. The applicant, Pronto Pizza, requests approval of its mural located at 300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach, providing for conflicts and an effective date, community development.
Good evening. This application is for a mural, public art mural. Let's see, it's for the Pronto Pizza located on Federal Highway. This is an after-the-fact application. It was brought to the Public Art Advisory Board last month, and they recommended favorably to the City Commission for the approval of the mural. The mural theme on the property is to enhance the space with an abstract mural. It brightens and beautifies. I think there's some information about the artist himself is available in the backup, and this is, I think we're all familiar with the art that's on the property now. These are some photos of what's there, some more photos to familiarize yourself with the site itself. On May 15th, the Public Art Advisory Board reviewed and discussed the mural based on the guidelines, and they favorably recommended 5-0 to the City Commission. Therefore, staff is also recommending approval of the mural this evening, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Vice Mayor?
Yes, Corinne. So this is after the fact, right? Because that mural's been up for a long time.
Yes.
First of all, I want to say I love it.
Yes.
I think it's fantastic. I think it describes exactly what the place is about. I'm just concerned about setting an example that we're letting people go ahead and do what they want to do and then come back after the fact and get it approved. So I don't know what to do about that. So I'm asking you, is there anything we can do?
Well, I think a lot of it was education of the process. I think they really didn't realize that there was a process. So I'm thinking all the key players hopefully know that there's a process and that there's criteria, and we go through the board. So I'm hopeful that we're not going to have so many of these going forward. as after the fact.
What if we do start having a run on it? I mean, that's my only concern. It's just something that I think we need, what? Well, no, I mean, it's just, you don't want to have a situation where every business in town wants to start putting up murals, whether they're approved or not, and just starts doing it and then comes and asks for permission later. That's not the way it's supposed to run. So I'm just concerned about that becoming a regular thing as opposed to a once in a,
I
blue
don't
moon.
see that I mean, we had a little bit of a run, but I think there was an excitement on the public art initiative of the city, and everyone got excited.
Yeah.
So I really do think that the word is out now, and that people know that there's a process, and we're going to be more proactive on it. And I don't think we're going to have this situation.
Yeah, and like I said, I love it. I'm not
Yeah.
saying I don't like it, because I really do. I think they did a great job with it. It's just, not the right thing to do.
Right, not the right process, right.
Hi.
Hi.
Eleanor, Community Development Director. I just wanted to say we gave a little grace to these people because there was some influx and miscommunication in the process, and it was really early in the stages. We do have a means of, violating somebody with code enforcement, and there's fines. That takes a process and a long time, and they can come through and correct it. But we can also do like a double fee where there's an application fee. We can charge them twice if there are violations. So there's adjustments that we can make. We just wanted to be lenient with these three that came through. I think it was Casper Arts, Pronto Pizza, and Hot Chicks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Clucking Hot.
Clucking Hot Chicks, that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, going forward, we want to be a little bit more aggressive because the process is in place. Everybody should know. We're communicating. We've done a social media blast about the public art program. So hopefully, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Anybody else?
Yep.
Commissioner Salvino?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, those three items were up while we were currently in order of our arts ordinance, and I think it's as simple as saying that they beat the ordinance. And as of now, that if somebody says something about it, it was already there. The ordinance was not in place, and we move forward with the new ordinances, and there is no grace period for anybody else. I think those three things set an example for us how and why we needed to put our ordinance into place. And I don't think there's an example like that some of us have seawalls that were repairable before a year ago, and now you have to have a seawall. But if your seawall's up, you can't make them do it over again, Right. So, I mean, there's things that are in the past that are there. You got to let it go and move on and not worry about every single person complaining about something. It's there, it's done, it's over, now move on, here's the new rules, and that's how it works. And there shouldn't be any discussion on it.
Totally agree.
That's my point. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Salvino.
Dania Beach.
Yeah, and we just changed the advertising and the flags that they could have, so I think all the businesses are aware of the changes that the city has made, especially when it comes to the mural program, so I would say that they're pretty informed, so.
Well, I make a motion, we pass this item, Mayor.
Perfect. I have a second from Commissioner Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you.
Good job,
Thank you,
staff.
ladies. All right, next we have item 10.2, which is Art on the Beach. This is sponsored by Commissioner James. Oh, hold on, let me get you active.
Mayor.
Go ahead.
Just press the button. Oh, okay, sorry. Thank you. I'll try to keep this brief. There's been some interest on doing some art, like wrapping the pier and even underneath the quarter deck. I've seen some really interesting things, but going through the process, I wanted to bring it to the board and ask if the Art in Public Places could look into that. I'm not sure how it goes, how the process goes, but if you could look into that. I don't know, you do the call to artists or however it goes, but there is interest on the beach to do those things. So I don't know the plans for the beach and the pier, but there's a lot of interest in continuing to wrap that, and not with the same artist that has already done the one mural right there by the quarter deck, but it was other artists that have come to me, and so wanted to be transparent and come to the board and see if we can get some movement within the Art in Public Places board and see how that process goes.
Okay, Commissioner Davis?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner James. that we do have the process in place, and so we're looking at all different parts of the city, including Ocean Park, as for the public art. And so what we would need to do is, if anybody's interested in doing art on the beach or anywhere else, they would first need to go through community development and staff, and then with the consultant, and they would work with the consultant. It would go through a staff review, and then the public art board review, and then it would come back to the commission for approval of the shortlisted artists, and then the shortlisted artists would be notified, and they would have the proposals. Then the public art board would then make a recommendation to the commission, and then the commission would have the final approval of whatever the final process is, or the final approval of whatever the public art is. So we do have a process if they want to be included, if whoever the artist is wants to be included in the call to artists, then they can submit their information to community development, and community development can then add them to the call to artists. So they would be notified when we're looking at different parts to do public art.
Sorry. Okay, so it's just to send the artist to community development is not something that they come already with their own proposal. Can they bring that proposal or whatever to community development, or they just go to community development just to be a part of the call to artists?
Well, they would go to community development first, just to let them know whatever it is that they're interested in doing. But the Public Art Board has a plan overall for what they want to do. We are considering in the future, if artists want to do temporary art, that they can bring something specific that they want to bring to the art, but we haven't done that yet. So at this time, they would just, I believe, just go ahead and submit their information to community development, and they would be included in the call to artists at that time.
Okay, so if as a commission, if we had any ideas of different places that we wanted to focus the art within the city, it doesn't go like that. We just wait for you all to bring us different projects.
Go ahead, Eleanor.
Thank you. So I just wanted to mention, the commission did approve the public art plan, which identifies different areas in the cities to focus on. I believe it was the corridors, downtown was a few examples, Ocean Park was another. The board is working on its first call to artists, which I anticipate getting in front of you guys hopefully June 27th. I'm working with the city attorney to get those documents finalized. And the first location they were looking at is more of the downtown city center. So in future call to artists, they will be looking at the Ocean Park and the corridors. The artists would, you would give us the artist's contact information, and we would include them in the call to artists or any future call to artists that we would have. They wouldn't solicit us directly or the Public Art Board for a specific work of art. The city has to solicit them through the call to artists.
Okay, thank you. That was it. That was all my question was for that. And then can I go to 10.2? Oh, sorry, I didn't see you.
Commissioner Salvino? Oh, you got all those on here, so I don't know. Are you okay? All right. Eleanor, I don't know, Eleanor. I don't know if this, when Commissioner James mentioned this about the artwork, kind of throws a little bit of thought in me that as a commission, if we decide we want to see an art project someplace, that we can't, I'm gathering that we're not allowed to put our input that we want that there then, because it has to be go through the art board for them to decide. And am I on the wrong track there? I mean, like, if she wants to say something, she wants to put something on the beach, or I want to put something on the beach or whatever, so I can't come up and say, I'd like to see this, and I'd like to call this up here and get approval from the commission to go forward with that. I think that might have been where you were leaning, right? But I'm looking at other, I'm not looking at the beach, but I'm looking at other thoughts in my mind that if I see something, I know that we pick certain projects out, like I did the bridge, out of my contingency. But if we wanted something to do with the art and public places money, and I said, well, I'd like to have this project on this wall over here, why can't I say this, and why do we have to wait for a call to artists on it? Why can't we bring this up, vote on that, and then go at the process?
If I can, so you do have your plan, which is sort of adopted, that you've adopted as your plan. If you want to amend that plan and change the priority of locations, you can always do that.
All right, well, who's selecting these locations at this time?
The board.
Well,
The
the
art
board gave
board?
you a recommendation, and you as the commission approved that plan.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but I guess I'm a little confused on what I approved then, so maybe I would retract my vote at that point. My point is, I don't have a problem with the Arts Board doing what they're doing, but my thing is that what happens if none of us like where they select?
You can say no.
Okay, but then we're spinning our wheels.
We'll come
Where
back
I
to you
think
for
that
another call to
our job as elected officials are to be able to put an input in where we would like to see something from the residents that come to us or businesses that come to us and say, I'd like to see a mural here, or I'd like to see art here. But if we can't do that, and we can't do that because it's up to the art board to approve that, we may never get anything done that we want done because, and they may not get them they want
Well,
done.
remember, you
because-
can always amend the plan. So
But
if
am I
you
on the
want
right
to,
track?
I
What
don't
I'm
think
trying
a
to say
plan
here?
amendment is needed. I think if they have a project that they are interested in as a commission, they can discuss it. The commission liaison brings that back to the public art board.
She's the liaison,
We have
right?
that discussion as a public art board, and that gets worked into the call to artists.
Okay, well, that
So
works.
if you look,
That's-
I can share the public
what I
art
thought.
plan with all of you. It's pretty vague, and
That's what I
and
just
it
thought.
talks about a lot of areas within the city. And you guys all approved that public art, or the public art plan originally, maybe not all of you, because you weren't on the commission at that time, but as a group, approved the public art plan. So I can share that with you to make sure you guys are still on board with that. If an amendment is needed, I don't think what you're talking about would require a plan amendment. It's just a conversation and
so-
a consensus.
Right, so basically what's coming up to is,
So that's what I was asking.
okay, if she wants to do something and have art on the beach.
I don't want to be in charge of it.
No,
I
she just
want
wants it-
them to go through the process.
Or if I wanted something else what I have in my mind right now, I would bring it up to
Yeah.
my liaison on here, and then she would present this. Is
Right.
that what would happen?
Go back to the board.
Hold on, Commissioner Davis.
Sorry.
Right.
As the liaison, you can let us know if you have a specific project that you would like to bring forward. We would still go, I would still go back through the
Right.
process to,
I'm okay with all that. I just want to make sure that we're not cut out of the picture. That's all.
Well, that's what I was trying. Well, I guess that's what I was trying to do. He was able to articulate it better than I was. I do want to, from looking at the ideas, I'm not saying anyone's names for procurement purposes. I wanted to go through the proper process. I was approached, and I just wanted to go through it the right way. But I did think that what they had was pretty cool, with the wrapping of the beach and underneath the quarter deck, that part of it as well. But again, I know that you have to open it up to more than one person. I wanted to just bring the idea and see how you all felt about it, and then you take it back to the board.
and I think we
Yeah.
can,
Yeah, I do too. I think that's a perfect example. Like, and then the second part of it, what you just said, was that I know exactly what you're talking about, all the under the pier mural stuff. But if we come up, my thing is that's what you want. But that can be presented to us, or somebody else could go out to the call. They could say, this is what we want. You have that in your mind, what you're looking for. Doesn't have to be the exact thing, but you're saying
Correct.
we want to go underneath it. Then they can all present their plans to us.
Correct.
And we have an opportunity. And that's when we bring it to our liaison and for that purpose, right?
I believe so. What I know that the process we're going through right now, we just have, what we've done is you have a space. You say you want the space underneath that pier area. What we're working on now, we have the part on the
Oh, right.
garage wall. So what we're doing is we look at a specific space,
Right,
right? And
right.
then that
Okay.
space goes out to call
Right,
the
right.
artist.
That's
And
fine.
so if your particular artist
Okay.
gets chosen for that
That's
space,
fine.
then it
That's
may or
great.
may not. But
I got it now.
you say, I like this space, you have all day, everybody
Right.
can come to the board and
Correct.
say, I
Right.
like a particular
There you go.
space.
That's
And
all.
then that space would come back
Okay,
and
gotcha.
that would go to the call
That's
to artists
fine
and it
by
would
me.
come
Yeah,
back.
well, that's what I'm asking for approval for.
Okay, all right.
The wrapping
Yeah,
up the
it's still good to have an
the
overall
pier.
master plan.
Yeah.
And, yeah, if we have ideas,
That's
just
it.
bring it to our
That's it.
liaison. Perfect.
Do I have consensus? So, for Commissioner Davis to take it back to the board, the wrapping up the pier and underneath it?
Yes, yeah, my consent.
Submit a picture of what you want.
Well,
that-
just an
that's
idea.
the
That's what
space.
you want, yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Commissioner James, you were the one on the forefront of repainting the bottom of the pier, right? Yeah, I think it looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it was done rather quickly.
Yes,
as
it
well.
was.
So we move at that rate, the whole city's gonna be looking great soon.
Well, it was a little different. All right, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner James, we'll just move on to the next item, 10.3, the volunteer policy.
Yes, the volunteer policy. This came about because one of the gentlemen that
that used to coach in the city of Dania for our Little League football team. When he used to coach here a few years ago, he already had a record, and the record, I think, he had been clean. His record had been clean for, I think, 10 years. And so at that time, they allowed him to continue to coach because, you know, we're in a vulnerable part of our city. People are volunteering their time. People have made mistakes. And I believe if they have been on the right and narrow track and have not gotten back in trouble, that we should give people another opportunity. Our volunteer policy states otherwise depending on the charges. And I can understand certain charges, but I also understand that you can steal a candy bar out of the store and it's a robbery, you know, and those things happen as well. And so I wanted to ask if we can review this because this person has already been coaching our kids without incident. For all I know, I don't know his record. I was asking if, you know, had he been in trouble since then, since he's coached and left and come back, he wants to come back and give back to the kids as he's been doing the past few years when he was coaching here. But the policy says absolutely not. Under no circumstance could he coach. And so I wanted to revisit that. A stipulation of 10 years or more if they're able to continue to volunteer coach.
If
Vice
I
Mayor?
may, through the.
Go ahead, manager.
I just want to align our words with actions in regards to everything that we're looking at to be the safest city that we could be. What happened in the past was before we had this policy in place that we've been working on for several years. If it's a felony that is a violent crime, and there's a list of the violent crimes that I met with our HR director and I met with our attorney, and these violent crimes are not what we would recommend individuals working with our youth to have. And I think Eve has, you know, a list of those violent crimes, and that was aligned with one of those violent crimes, felonies that fell under what we believe should not be working with kids.
So the city's policy, which is created by the manager, just so you know, there are certain policies that don't come to the commission. Those are the PPM, the finance policy, and this happens to be one of them as well, the volunteer policy. There are certain automatic disqualifying offenses, not everything, and it's not misdemeanors and it's not every felony, but there are felonies no matter when they were done if they involve violence, including robbery and aggravated burglary, kidnapping, battery, aggravated battery, those types of things. And I think we're not talking about all bad behavior or criminal activities, because a misdemeanor that is involving any kind of drug or alcohol that's over 5 years old and more than 10 years old, you can be considered. And other misdemeanors that are older than 5 years old, you can still be considered to be a volunteer. The only items that are, you know, a lifetime ban are sex offenders and felonies involving violence.
Thank you, Eve, for the clarification on that. Vice Mayor Llewellyn?
You know, and I'm all for giving people second chances and third chances and whatnot, and I've done it myself. I've done it in my own business. I've done it in when I've been doing HR stuff for almost 30 years now, and have done this many times. And sometimes you hire people that depending on what the job is, and like there's certain, if somebody's been convicted of grand theft, you don't want them handling money, for example, or or fraud, something like that. When you're talking about dealing with children, that's a very special area, and you have there's safety issues, there's trauma issues, there's there's a lot of potential liability there, regardless of what the person's been doing or I agree with the manager in that what's happened in the past is in the past. We have a new way of doing things now, And I feel like we need to stick with that. And I just, to me, I don't want to put anybody in any potential jeopardy. It's unfortunate that somebody has a history that maybe precludes them from being in a particular position, but that's what happens sometimes. And it's just, every business that I know of is very careful of these types of situations because there could be potential liability down the road. You know, you can't predict anything. And you don't know what parents are going to say either. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, I actually think that volunteer programs should actually be more strict than our employees' situations, because it's not somebody who is necessarily using this as a reference in the future or getting paid. They're doing it on a volunteer basis, so they don't really have the same skin in the game. And I actually think a volunteer policy should be stronger for that reason. But that's just my 2 cents on it, and whatever anybody else wants to say, feel free.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Davis?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to clarify that this particular volunteer incident past record is definitely considered a violent crime, one of those that was prohibited. That's where this particular record falls under this.
We're not allowed to give you the disclosure of the information, but basically it would qualify as an automatic disqualifying offense.
Okay. You know, my background is in teaching, it's in working with kids, and I also know kids, which part of my whole dissertation is about people who've made mistakes and then being able to make sure that they have a pathway back and not go down a road that is constantly cyclical and not allow them to have chances. However, my concern is that when you have a volunteer, and you may know, like I know a particular kid who was an amazing kid and probably would never, ever, ever harm anybody else ever again, or just made a mistake and it's classified as this, and now it haunts him for the rest of his life. I know that if he was given a second chance, he would be great. My thing is if you open up that door for one person, you can't just limit it to the person that you know personally. It would have to apply to other people, and in so doing, you're not able to protect everybody, because if you say that if this person can do it with this record, then you would have to allow other people the same opportunity with a similar record. And so just in the interest of having the safest environment for children overall, I would not want to open up that door in order to have to allow that to be a precedent for how we have volunteers to work at our parks. So.
Thank you. Just to add a little context to this discussion, when was this volunteer policy adopted?
September 2021.
Okay, fairly new. So even under the current administration with our current city manager, our current HR director, this individual was coaching here at our parks. Like I said, I don't know his record as far as if he has gotten in trouble since the last time, which was over 10 years ago. He did email me. I think I shared that email with the city manager. And so this is fairly new. I do know prior in the past with our former captain, there have been instances of many of the individuals who has had some type of record, and I think that it went to the captain, and I believe the parks director, maybe someone else was in the room, and they looked over those individuals, because these are individuals from the community. These are not strangers to the community. These are individuals where Captain Marks told me at one point in time, I'm not comfortable with giving this person a second chance. I'm comfortable with that person. This person, has shown that they're not on the corners. They are trying to be an example. So I left it up to Captain Marks to say, okay, would you consider giving this person a second chance versus that one? So they were all case-by-case basis, and I think that year we had a few people that were able to give back to the community. and without incident. So that, I guess that's what I'm asking for. I'm asking to look into it because I don't know. Maybe it's a little near and dear to me because Richard Walker, my basketball coach of all my life since I've been 11 years old, went to prison for a while, a long time, and came back. And he's a minister now. And without him, I wouldn't be the person who I am now. And great mentor, straight and narrow, worked for the city of Hollywood, retired from the city of Hollywood, stand-up individual, and those are the type of people that. I think that sometimes, you get that diamond in the rough, but if it's someone that is always, our captain, they know the people who are troublemakers. They know the people who are not doing right in this community, and they know the people who, they would or would not give that nod to. I'm just asking for that consideration, not that it's in my hands, not that I want to be in any room, but something that maybe the captain and our parks director or someone could look at and see if they could have that chance to do what they've been doing before 2021. That they were coaching in 2019, I believe, for our city. And it's unfortunate that we have a policy that I was unaware of that now is going to prohibit them, and they've been coaching with these kids. So,
if I may, through the mayor, I want to let you know that I don't make decisions unilaterally or in a vacuum, that I did meet with our parks director and our chief of police, and we're all aligned in regards to being as proactive as we can. And these individuals that may have violent crimes in the past, they're not prevented from doing volunteer work in the city. But when it comes to kids, and I don't have to tell you, I come from a background of coaching and youth sports and Parks and Rec, but this is a conversation that I had with our parks director, and if he wants to address the podium, we just want to be consistent because you all want us to be consistent. So we don't want to be raising the bar and lowering the bar. We've set a very high bar here based on your priorities for safety, and particularly safety for kids. I can't raise that bar. If you force me to raise that bar, to lower the bar, I will. But I just want to let you know, we just want to be consistent. This is something that I discussed with our Parks Director.
Good evening, Eric Brown, Parks Director. Mayor James is absolutely correct as far as giving these guys a second chance. I've been coaching in both of these communities for a very long time. And when I became one of the administrators, it was a hard job to tell someone that they can't coach because of a mistake that they made. Certain offenses that take place allow you to come work for a city, but they won't allow you to coach around children. So I think this guy can get a job with the city if it's public services, but he couldn't get a job in Parks and Recreation because it's children. Commissioner James talked about her coach. It hurt me to my heart when I couldn't give him a job. And he worked in this industry for over 30 years along with me. And one of the mistakes that he made would not allow him to come back because of the policies that the school board and the Parks Department have made as far as the offenses that these guys have created or have committed. So with this incident, with this individual, and I don't know the crime, but I do know that based on the policy, he can't operate around children because of the extent of the crime. I've had kids that come to me. I had a kid just told me he needed to take his kids away because he went to jail for 5 years and now he can't coach. And I'm saying, I'm sorry. I mean, based on our policy, you can't. And I coach most of these guys personally. So it does hurt for me to not be able to bring them back to be able to coach. I grew up in this neighborhood, so I coach these guys' parents. Let me put it this way. So I coach these guys' parents, and now to come and tell them that they cannot coach or volunteer, yeah, it's hurtful. But at the end of the day, if this is how I look at it, if you can get a job with us based on your criminal background, then you should be able to volunteer. But if the state said they cannot work around children, then that's the policy that's been put in place. So, and as the policymakers that you guys are, like the manager said, and I know Commissioner James is not asking us to